Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo episode of the Quantum Healing with my friend Sherri Divband. You can find her work at Sherri Divband here on YouTube and also at intuitivewellnesscenter.com. Let's give her a big, warm welcome back to the show. Sherri, how are you?
Hi, it's been a while.
It's been a while. What's going on, Sherri?
So many things that we were just saying before. We don't know where to start. I can't. So much has happened in the last 4 months. I can't even believe it's been 4 months since we've been together. It seems like an eternity, but now that we're talking, it seems like yesterday at the same time. Isn't this a
Pretty
crazy
much.
world?
Pretty much, exactly. Well, I'm happy to have you back on. I'm excited to have you back on, and I'm also excited to get back into my regular routine. But universe seems to be pushing stuff in front of me as of late. And as I say, I want to go back to normal. Everybody's telling me, "Yeah, there's no normal. We were never a normal. This is the new normal. So just get used to it." JC, hey guys, thank you so much for joining us here on this live interactive show. I'll be taking your comments and your questions as we go along. We might take some questions also in an interactive way at the later part of the show. Sherri has a lot of updates to give us. But before we do the updates on all of her new developments, let's talk about some of the things that are glaringly obvious as we're seeing this transformation on the planet. There are still some questions about what ascension is, what does it mean, what does it mean to be aligned with your soul contract, how abundance comes out of all of this, because all of these events that are happening right now are really catalysts and triggers for people to wake up. And we're seeing that now more and more en masse. And I'm wondering, in your line of work right now, as you help people, what's coming up the most and what topics can we explore here today to share with the audience here so that they too can maybe empower themselves or empower their friends and families as well? Sherri.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. And hey, everybody, thank you for all the really wonderful comments. You guys are amazing. Yeah, I mean, I am talking to the most amazing people every single day. I have the honor of speaking with people all over the world. I mean, you name it. I've talked to somebody, I have a lot of clients in Canada, and it's such a pleasure to catch up with them to really get their truth of what's happening over there. And you and Janine broadcasting all of that. It's the real news, as opposed to what's being shown on TV is absurdly different. But yeah, in my sessions with my clients, I'm getting a lot of this soul reconnection. So that's kind of my thing. It's been that for years. I'm all about trying to help people reconnect and reestablish with their connection, their true connection with their soul. It's soul level healing. And that's what this ascension is about. And a lot of people are disconnecting from that reality and forgetting what it is that is happening right now. And this is a huge opportunity. This is a great shift. That's what it's called. It's the great shift. Why is it the great shift? Because we have an opportunity for the first time, and I don't know if ever before, but we are ascending in a living state. All of this dogma and all of these lies that we have been told for generations of time, that you have to die to ascend, is the big bunch of baloney. And people need to wake up from that realization and know that we can ascend right now. That's what we're doing. That's what the ascension process is. And I talked about this on your show before, and probably in some of my older YouTube videos from maybe a year and a half ago. We're waking up from this closed circuit system. That I like to metaphorically use the example of the poppy seed fields from the movie The Wizard of Oz. And I know you and Janine did a deep dive into that a long time ago. But that came to me years ago as a metaphor of humanity being fast asleep. I mean, the programming and the hypnosis that people are under is so profoundly deep, and it goes back generations, that there are so many soul fractals that are dislodged from the whole of each individual person, that they have lost themselves. They have lost their connection. And this is exactly what the dark ones have wanted all this time, is to disconnect us, because our true essence knows the answers to everything, knows how to heal ourselves, knows what to do. And we've lost that, and we're getting that back. And we have so many amazing beings coming in here to help us and to wake us up. And that's why I'm focusing half of my attention right now on helping adults that are newly awakened, saying, oh my gosh, I've been asleep all this time. What do I do? How do I help my family? And that's the biggest one that we talk about as well, is, you can't force people to wake up. Imagine those people in the poppy field completely fast asleep and hypnotized. You can't shake them awake. It will only keep you there. It will only hold you hostage in that energy. So you have to take yourself out. You have to, put the oxygen mask on yourself before trying to put it on your children, so you don't pass out and go back into that, vibration of going back to sleep yourself. We have to stand up for ourselves, and we're in a unique opportunity right now where people are waking up and they're seeing through the illusion. They're seeing through this matrix of illusion, this closed circuit system. Yeah. Where it's absolutely time. And we have this beautiful window of opportunity to ascend right now in the living state, so that we no longer need to be trapped in this illusionary field. And the issue that a lot of people are having that's coming up in my sessions, and this is the sad thing, is a lot of them are children, because a lot of I work with a lot of starseed children, many of which this is their first life, or have only had a few lives in this planet. They come from all over the place. I know I talk about Alpha Centauri a lot, but I work with children that are from star systems I've never even heard. They don't even have names. I don't even know what to call them. I'm like, I don't even know where this is, because I'm not that well versed as some other people like Alex Collier and Elena Denon. So I don't try to pretend like I know. I just say, I'm not getting an answer for you, but they're coming from everywhere. And because this is their first life here, they're really having challenges in this density. These are high density beings, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th density, trying to come in a high frequency energy body, or trying to come in a body with high frequency, and the body is reacting, and they're reacting to this environment. They don't fit in. They're not doing well. And right. So they start to disassociate from their body. There's a disconnect between the soul and the physical body, because anytime your soul experiences something in the human form or a physical form that it does not like, it has the ability to pull back. So just like we daydream sometimes and we forget the last 20 minutes, or we drive to work and we don't remember how we got there because we were we were disassociating to some degree. Now, how much it's determined on the situation, but children who go through trauma or come to a life where they're experiencing school for the first time, and they're bullied, or they're made fun of, or perhaps they're abused by their parents. I mean, a lot of things happen to these children that shock them, that are immediate traumas when they come into this reality, and they don't like it. So they start to disconnect, and parents contact me and they say, my child is walking around like they're not there. I don't see, they're not acting that they're the same as they normally do. And it's a huge thing right now. And it's a huge challenge, because these children are here to make a difference and shift the energy, but they're reclusing. They're completely going into hermit mode, because they're like, I don't want to leave the house. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do anything. And I noticed that I started having a lot of sessions with adults going through the exact same thing. And I'm like, what's going on? Everybody is leaving, exiting the body right now. We need you here. We need you grounded. And that's the point. That's what I'm trying to do when I'm working with clients is, okay, how can we reel you back in? What can we do to make this more comfortable for you? But they're really frustrated because there's so many people that are still in that poppy field of energy, just completely asleep. And, people are losing compassion, and they're starting to get frustrated, and they're losing patience with them. And I understand that. But just think about the generations and generations of breeding that we've had on this planet that has forced them into that mindset of deep hypnosis. And they truly are in a different dimensional field than we are. Not a dimensional field, a density. So when you're in a 5th density and you're trying to argue or trying to communicate with somebody in the 3rd density that's still watching CNN, that still believes in this, that still is covered with 7 different types of things on their face, there's no arguing with them. You got to take a pass and move on, because right now the most important thing that's going to get us through this ascension with dignity, with grace, with humility, is that we focus on the light, focus on spreading our light in this world, so that we can actually ascend right now. Because I believe that we're on the edge of that, and nothing is going to stop us. I do believe we're at the point of no return. I still think the dark ones have some tricks up their sleeve, and they're trying everything they can to abort mission of the light and the light train. And people, unfortunately, are falling for it, and they're derailed. They're derailing themselves out of the light because they're so focused and enamored by and disconcerted by all the darkness that's around them, and they will not stop watching it. It's like a car wreck. They can't stop watching it.
I thank you for that. I just did a show with Janine earlier. We were looking at the Ukraine situation, and I was warning the audience here to not go too deep in it. And of course, we want to understand what's going on, but at the same time, that's the trick there. It's pulling us back into the darkness, or it's pulling us closer and closer to the tree where we can't see the forest. There's much more happening here than just Ukraine or the situation in Ottawa or the situation in the United States right now. And it all ties in together. We wanted to talk about three things here before we get into all of your developments on the new initiatives on your websites. Dissociation, you just started talking about it. Limiting beliefs, what's holding us back on these timelines, and also the mass exodus. You and I had kind of touched that probably in the last show, that this was coming up in the field also. So folks, we're going to get into those topics here, but I just wanted to go a little bit deeper on this idea of dissociation, the separation of the soul and the avatar during these periods of stress. It's not just the stress. Okay, so as you're talking to your clients, as you just mentioned, some of them will pull information, non-local information, either from their higher self or higher collectives, sometimes other groups of people, and you're bringing that back down here for us to listen. And I'm curious as to whether or not you're getting messages with respect to the injectables, those products, and if they were in part also designed to do exactly that, separate us from our higher selves. And if so, what are these different collectives telling us that could be the remedy for all of that, as we are all fighting here to wake up and to reconnect and to strengthen that bond with our higher self? What can you say on that?
Yeah, that's a loaded question, JC.
This is BeyondMystic. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no. I love it. I love these questions. Let's get into it. Okay. I don't subscribe to the narrative that there's going to be a mass exodus of people because of that. I truly believe that was the intention in a lot of ways. But I also believe that as people wake up and they raise their frequency and they start to tune in and they start to connect themselves with their light, they're untouchable. I really believe that. And I think that you'll be surprised. I know a lot of really great people that did it, that just didn't know any better. They're great people. They really, truly are. They're amazing people, and they are fine, and they don't have any side effects. And I feel really bad about the people that do. But I also believe that our souls have a contract in this life. We've decided what it is and what we're going to do here, and what role we are playing in the ascension. And every single session that I do in the past couple of years, one of the first things that come through, whether it's from a spirit guide, a soul family member, or their higher self, they say, this is the role that you have chosen to play in the ascension. This is why you're here. This is why you're on this timeline. And going and pivoting over to the elderly for just a moment, there's a dark way to look at something, and then there's a positive way to look at something. And the light will always try to turn the dark, what their objectives are, into something else. And we're seeing this all the time. Great things have actually come out of all of this. I mean, look at all the people standing up and trying to become sovereign and recognizing their power and standing in it. Which if we had never been through any of this, and we were all still going to work and living our lives like nothing was wrong a couple of years ago and nothing ever happened, and perhaps we wouldn't be where we are right now. So there is some good that comes out of all of this. And I believe that souls have chosen, that came into this timeline, this ascension timeline, this here and now, with a choice. This is how I'm going to contribute. And I do think that some of them came in and said, I will volunteer to have this and have a reaction and or die from it. I know that people have signed up to get sick, let's just call it that, and either have really bad things happen or perhaps pass away from it. Their soul had made a choice to do that one way or the other, to wake people up for various reasons. But we all have a choice. I believe that free will is still in abundance here. We still have a choice. The problem is, and I had a session with somebody recently, and I asked, and Archangel Michael came through, and I said, what is the holdup here? Like, what is taking so long? Because people that have been awake for a while are really starting to lose their patience and nothing seems to be evident enough that is showcasing that things are changing. And I know, and and many of your audience knows, there is actually a lot going on. There is a lot changing. We just don't have evidence on it in the mainstream media, but you have to look beyond that. But people truly are losing hope. And the free will, and we do have free will at the end of the day. And a lot of the sleepers, a lot of those that are still in that poppy seed field, at the end of the day, they're still connected to that, and they have every right and every free will to do that, and there's absolutely nothing we can do about that. And so their soul ultimately has to make a choice. Am I going to wake up, or am I going to disconnect and leave this matrix? One way or the other. You have to go one way or the other.
Yeah. We just did this show with Janine. This is one of our uncensored shows. We got into some difficult topics here, but we were talking about the Starseed Envoy program and how partially it's connected to the 144,000, and how it's important for people to understand right now that we all chose to be here at this time. We absolutely are on mission, but there's still a big contingent of perhaps those people who are on mission that don't yet realize they're on mission for whatever reason. Either it's a personal choice, they're rewriting their contract, which is absolutely available to them, as we were just talking about now. It's about free will, but it could also be because of this deep programming. We can talk about the limiting beliefs that keep coming back up and maybe sabotaging one's desire to get back on mission, but it could also be the mainstream media, some of the energy weapons directed at them. I'm curious what your clients are saying, maybe what the children are saying about, yes, that is the fact now, and if there is any encouragement to wake up those starseeds who absolutely want or would want to wake up to their soul mission, but right now who might be trapped in some of these weird technologies and loops and programs that are preventing them to reach that, including perhaps some of the injectables, as that could have been one of the that and the injectables for kids who have autism and all of these things too. We understand that a lot of those programs around the world are exactly for that, to remove those people from their soul contracts, in a sense, or at the very least maybe delay them. So I'm curious again here with your clients, what are you hearing from our higher collectives as to the success rate maybe right now of our starseeds waking up to partake in this particular spiritual war they find themselves in, and if there's any tricks right now to maybe help those along who are maybe lagging behind? What would you say?
Yeah, that's a good question. And before I answered that specifically, something that has come up in a lot of the sessions is that, and I didn't really quite believe it at first, but I have talked about it a few times, even with you, I think, but I've seen more of it over the last 4 months since we've spoken. A lot of them, is going to sound a little crazy, but a lot of them are asleep for a reason, meaning their soul has chosen to deactivate. They are deactivated for a reason, and because they have a big mission. Remember, the dark ones, they're dark, but they're not stupid. Okay, they're very intelligent. They have technology. They can see into the future. They know when a starseed's coming into the planet, and they know exactly what they're here to do, which is why a lot of them are taken out. They are directed. What is the word I'm trying to say? Like
or
they're
thwarted to another family, to another life circumstance.
Exactly, like they're derailed from their mission. Yeah. All sorts of things. I mean, we know that's occurring. That occurs. It's not a conspiracy. So they know when the light ones come in the planet, and so their souls are the souls that are coming through. What I've been told is that they are deactivating their light on purpose so they can be hidden. Then when the time comes, they can now wake up, which is happening a lot. I can't tell you how many people suddenly are having these awakenings that are so profound that literally they wake up one day and they're like, their life, they think completely different, and they're freaking out, and they call me and say, I saw you on this show, can you help me? And then I work with them and I find out, oh my gosh, you've been deactivated your whole life, and your soul says, okay, the timer goes off, you're awake now. Hello, good morning. Welcome to Earth.
What the fuck just happened?
Welcome to Earth.
Right.
Yeah, the real Earth. And they're completely like taken back from all of that. So just understand that there is a lot of that going on for all age groups, even elderly. I work with elderly that literally have woken up recently. I mean, I work with all ages, and I've talked about this a lot. So it's not limited to just children. There's a lot of adults that are just just waking up. So they've been asleep on purpose, not because of the poppy seed field from nefarious energies here, but because their soul and their soul team kept them asleep to protect them from that energy.
They're basically undercover until until such time as they go live here for their specific mission. And that brings us to the question of having compassion again, because you just mentioned, oh, we're losing patience for all these people who are still sleepers. Well, on one hand, they might be asleep, of course, because of all the tactics, the media, and all this stuff. But two, the point you just mentioned now also enables a lot of people who are awake to say, oh, wait, I have to have a little bit more compassion. There might be something else happening here as to why this person is not activated yet. And it could very well be for their own protection. So again, it makes you think things are always more complicated than they are. Now let's get into these limited beliefs and old programs of the matrix. As people are waking up, they're all realizing that they're going through this process of removing the rocks from their pack sacks, so to speak. And these are in terms of old ideas, programs, belief systems. And as they're doing that, they become lighter and lighter, and they're expanding their field of view as to their understanding of the transitory nature of this reality. But what seems to be happening is that they get re-triggered. So the program is re-triggering some of these old limiting beliefs, either through them or often sometimes through their spouse, through their partner, through their family members who might still have more shields or more cracks in their shields. And that's the way that they attack you and kind of draw you back in. What are you getting from your clients in terms of that scenario right now? And what can you tell the audience who might be dealing with that, either themselves or with a loved one here who's struggling to try to remove all those old programs, but keep falling back into those same recurring loops? What would you say?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I have a chapter in my book that's called Getting Out of the Loop. They're loops. You are literally in a programmed loop. I have this in the young adults book, Divinely Guided, because I'm trying to teach children from a young age to not get yourself in the loop. And if you do get yourself in that loop, know how to get out of it, because that's what's happening. We're disconnecting. We are unschooling. We are deprogramming, all these things that are happening because from the moment that we come into, we are such expansive, beautiful, all-knowing, all-loving beings before we come into these avatars on this plane of reality in this earth. And we come here and the veil is so thick and we don't remember anything. And then when we come in here, well, a lot of people are, but I'm talking generally speaking, so we're not speaking 100%. And then from the moment you're born, from the programming that your parents received, they imprint on you. Then you go to school in the very corrupt school system, and you are taught all throughout school. And you hear it all the time. Be good little girls and boys. Stand in line. Don't speak unless spoken to. Respect your elders. Do what you're told. It's a rep. And I'm a master hypnotherapist, and that's what they teach you in school. On to hypnotize people is repetition. It's all about we say the same thing over and over and over, and it becomes a pattern. And you hear it, and it's literally, there are literally programs after programs playing in the back of our mind all the time, and certain experiences that we have in our life will trigger. Oh, that program came out. Oh, I'm really afraid, or I'm gonna be submissive, or whatever the program that is being played out in your reality. And we're disconnecting from that right now. We're disconnecting from those old patterns, and I teach people how to do that. That's one of my favorite things to teach people is disconnecting from limiting beliefs. And the way you do that is you I no longer consent. You get your power back. You stand in your power, and you release any and all energy, any and all ties, any and all beliefs that no longer serves your highest good. Because I will tell you something, and people don't believe this, but our biggest power that we have in this plane of reality is visualization and our intention. It is the most powerful thing we have. It is the strongest tool we have. So if our intention is, I am in control, I no longer submit to this, I do not consent, I disconnect from these beliefs, and then you start running a new program. You raise your vibration, you focus on only the positive things that you want to attract in your life. That's how manifestation works. And we focus on what it is that we're open to and what resonates with us, because there's a lot of people watching this, and there's a lot of opinions out there, and everybody has their own perception and their own reality. Because of the vibration that you're in, I could have a different reality than Jean-Claude can when we're experiencing the exact same thing. Who's right or wrong? I don't know. I can tell you that to me, my truth is, and my reality is valid, but you're going to say the same thing. So we are all experiencing our own illusionary world, so to speak, right here. And so we have to get control of that and create new programming by imprinting. And our intention is we're calling in what's for our highest good, What's in alignment for my highest good? I only accept friendships and partnerships in my life that are for my highest good. That will eliminate pretty much anything else. If you get in the habit of saying every single day, I only attract what is my highest good, then we'll eliminate just about anything else. People coming into your life, experiences that you attract, all of that abundance. If it's in alignment for your highest good. When I work on a client, and part of what I do when I start, the first thing I say when I connect to them is I call in their higher self and any messages from their soul family that is of their highest good only and my highest good only. So I am making sure that I'm covering myself, I'm protecting myself and that person. So I'm not fooled and they're not fooled. And so if we live our life in our own power, in our own light, then we will no longer be able to be controlled anymore. I mean, look at all the truckers out there who have completely activated. I was told in many of my sessions that they are literally what do they call them? They are warriors of light. That's what they said. They said, Sherry, they are warriors of light that are going across the ley lines in a very dark, controlled country, energetically on that grid. And they are literally bringing light to that across the country. And now they're doing it in the United States. There are people standing in every country. They're doing in Australia. I mean, everybody, a lot of people, not everybody, a lot of people are waking up. And the more that we can do this, and you asked the question, how do we help our loved ones? How do we break free from that programming? We ground ourselves. We have purposely been disconnected from the Earth's energy grid, because they know how powerful it is. When we connect to the Earth's energy, but we also activate our soul energy, the possibilities are absolutely endless and nobody can stop us. And they don't want us to have that kind of a power. They don't want us to know that we can heal ourselves. They don't want us to know that the Earth can send us the most powerful energy for free. We don't need any money. We don't have to go buy crystals. We could go and find our own crystals. We don't need to buy anything fancy. We don't have to have a med bed. I feel like the big hype about the med beds was a loss of false illusionary information that made people, again, I need that med bed to heal. And it's like, they're doing everything they can to make people feel like they can't do anything themselves. They need to have a healer. They need to have this med bed. They have to have the same with all the products out there. I don't subscribe to any of that. I don't buy a bunch of expensive organic products. I'm sure they work. I'm sure many of them do. But again, I try to teach people, you have everything you need right here and outside for free. You don't need to buy any of it.
Okay. You triggered me on a whole bunch of stuff. I was trying to take notes there, not to interrupt you. Okay, so Janine and I did do an episode on the med beds a couple of months ago, and it was difficult. As much as people appreciate the episode, a lot of those people who are in the category you were just explaining now, hoping for this to save their lives, didn't like some of the narrative that Janine and I were proposing, saying that of course you have the power to heal yourself, and waiting for, again, external devices and things is delaying you from making that connection, that understanding, and getting on that path of basically understanding the self-mastery that comes with being embodied in this vehicle at this time, and how you actually can control it. So that's a whole other conversation. If you're not triggered by that, go check out that MedBed episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch it now.
Yeah.
And I want to, a little bit of a side note. I do believe that there are med beds. Okay, I'm not saying that they don't exist. I don't, and I know because I've seen them, and I've talked about when I've in other interviews that I've done that I have seen frequency scanners. I've seen so many versions of this technology that does exist, and it probably is here, and and there are probably people who have access to it. But what I'm saying is we have to figure out how to heal ourselves right now and not wait for anything else. And somebody put a comment in there, and I just laugh at people's ridiculous stupidity, but they said, how do you pay for your electricity and your food? Obviously, we're talking about healing, not living. And we happen to live in a third dimensional reality where, unfortunately, we do go to the grocery store and we buy our food. We have to put gas in our car. We pay for electricity. And that's a perfect example of somebody who is in 3D watching this video.
Right. And let's talk about that, because you mentioned the other note I took was, okay, so guys, go check the MedBed episode if you hadn't seen it already. There's a lot in there for you. And again, it's meant to trigger your higher consciousness and to turn on some of the breakers. You know, if you have a breaker panel in the house, most of those breaker panels are turned off by design by the matrix we're in now. And the higher you raise your frequency, the higher you hold a charge in your body, you get to turn on all of those breakers and you get to see what they can do. The healing is only one aspect of that. But anyways, that's a whole other show. Now, yeah. Abundance, because we're talking about here still limiting beliefs. You talked about abundance earlier and how to create abundance when you're in your alignment of your soul contract. Universe is really now conspiring to bring the abundance or whatever it is you need for you to fulfill that mission. Now, in terms of these loops, and you mentioned in your book there that people are in those loops. Let me bring that back up for people. Divinely Guided is the book, guys. If you want to check that out, you can find that on intuitivewellnesscenter.com, and the links are in the description box below. But in terms of these loops, what I'm seeing now too, in the last year or so, and I had Julie from Maison Jupiter. She's an astrologer. She's been on our show quite a few times. Her sister there on the screen also does tarot. But she was explaining that the alignments for 2022, starting as of, I believe it was December 29, was shifting to favor those of us who were working in the spirituality fields, as opposed to those people who were still working in the materialistic sense of contributing to the matrix and to the systems of control in the matrix. And so that meant that, and Janine and I were talking about that even last year, people who were in that momentum were already starting to feel new abundance come towards them. The YouTubers, truthers, all of these things, right? As opposed to before, they were disadvantaged by the system. Now the system was advantaging them. But what was happening, and it was tricky here, I was getting a lot of friends and reports of other YouTubers who suddenly they had abundance, but they got this huge fear of lack coming back into their field of view. And they were all like, wait a second, I'm no longer in that lack mentality. I'm in the abundance. Why am I suddenly so afraid, even more afraid than when I wasn't actually in the lack mentality? So these are these weird programs that come and catch you as you're trying to, like a crab getting out of the pot, you know, the other crabs bring them back down. Talk about these weird loop programs that catch you. Even when you do that up jump or that up leveling, there's always risks of those old loops catching you by surprise and bringing you into a lower frequency. Have you experienced that? And can you share maybe some experiences with some of your clients, or generally speaking, some advice on how to avoid those, to recognize them and say, no, this far, no further. I'm up leveled and you're no longer on my playing field. Get out of here. What would you say to the audience?
I mean, honestly, you just answered exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, no, that's what it is. You standing in your power, you know, that's what it's all about, your intention, because your thoughts will dictate your vibration. It's that simple. Your energy field will go with where you're feeling the emotion. Your emotional well-being is important. And so this happens a lot. A lot of the clients that I work with, when they finally get to where they want, they're so afraid of losing it that the fear creeps up. You know, and this is this reality that we are in is a fear-based illusion. Yeah. That's what this is all about. And that's how they capture you. That's how they feed off of our energy, because they keep us in fear all the time. The whole system is based on fear. And so for those that have had a lot of past lives in the samsara cycle of reincarnation, which is no longer being allowed, they have had lifetimes after lifetimes of suffering, and not everybody has been in that. So I just want everyone to know that not everybody has been in the wheel of reincarnation. That samsara cycle has not been for everybody. And I worked with a lot of people, a good number, who have never been in it, but a lot of people have, and they have had lifetimes of programming. So that's what I'm talking about. It's not just programming from the day you're born. This is programming that you've experienced for dozens, if not some hundreds of lives that people have had, where they were in that samsara cycle of suffering, where it's generally poverty, enslavement, disease, and that's where all of the ritual abuse and all of that negativity occurs the most. And you were programmed lifetime after lifetime through abuse and neglect, that you're not good enough, that you are not healthy, you will not thrive, you'll never amount to anything. And that's that program running in the back just telling you, oh no, Sherri, you're never going to amount to anything. You're nothing. I can't tell you how many clients that I've talked to that says, Sherri, I just look in the mirror and I hate myself. And I don't know why. and I hear this voice telling me you'll never do anything with your life. You're worthless. You don't deserve any love, any joy, any happiness. I mean, it's so common because the veil is very thin right now. I talk about timeline healing and merging. And what I mean by that is each one of our lives is like an illuminated light strand. So however many lives you've had, and this matrix grid has been previously designed so that we can have an infinite amount of these timelines, but they're all separated. So they're different, unique experiences. And when you go in and you start to heal the timelines, we notice right now, because of this ascension period, the timelines are they're starting to merge together, and the veil is very thin in between, because the dark matrix is breaking down. We're still always going to be within some sort of a matrix, some sort of an energy grid, because I think that people confuse the words. But the idea is that as the veil breaks down, we start to have memories and traumas spill over. So one timeline crosses with another, and next thing you know, we have this irrational fear of drowning, because we drowned in his previous life, and now they're like they suffocate, they wake up, in sweats because they think they're going to die. Or a mother has this resolved. I had this fear that my daughter was going to die when I had her. She went to the hospital 5 weeks old. She had RSV, a respiratory virus, and I was so beside myself because I was sure she was going to die, and it was just the worst pain I've ever felt. And if she wasn't, compared to other children that have had that experience, it really wasn't that bad, but I must have been what didn't even happen to me, but I was calling in or bringing forth this energy of trauma of a mother losing their child that I must have been a part of. I didn't lose her, but I must have been in a situation where someone else had, and it was a trauma that crept up. And as soon as I realized it, I let it go, and I never worried about her again. She's 7 years old, and I haven't once thought about her leaving this planet early. So I was able to clear that. Sometimes it's just about understanding and knowing, but this reality is disconcerting at times, because we don't know where this energy is coming from. Where are these thoughts coming from? Where are these unresolved fears coming from? And that's part of this breaking of the old patterns comes from, so that we no longer have these fears that are telling us we're not good enough. Because we stand in our power, we look in the mirror and say, I do deserve joy. I deserve happiness. I deserve abundance. And you literally kick that energy to the curb. You take back control, and it's all about mindfulness. That's all. Yeah. And that's what my first book is about. We are in control of our wellness, and it starts with our emotions. Once we recognize that we are emotional beings in this human avatar, we're going to have thoughts and doubts. That's the shadow side. We're having a constant battle with our shadow side our entire life. The shadow side is the ego. Everybody has one. Even the most nice person the nicest person you've ever met in your life. Everyone has a shadow side. It doesn't matter who you are. But what matters is, are you able to control it? So people who are really awful people, their shadow side is taken over. They're egocentric. They don't have any control. They don't have any compassion. But we all have that ability to go. The needle has the ability to kind of teeter back and forth based on our experiences, and it has to do with our mindfulness and controlling our emotional well-being. So when we have those dark thoughts, we acknowledge it and say, "Oh, it's okay. I'm a human. I have these emotions," and then you let it go, and then you keep on living your life. So it's about recognizing it, acknowledging it, and then releasing it.
Yeah. And I think right now, I have this deep knowing right now that universe is favoring us humans, in terms of, if we want to, and if we choose to, in our soul evolutionary track, to get off of this samsara wheel. We have the energies, basically the wind behind our back. So although it is hard, I believe truly that right now is the time to do that. So what better time than all of these catalysts for change that are happening on the planet, to just sit down and realize that if you fix what's in here, everything out there will also fix itself. That's a whole other show, Sherry. That'd be so cool. But there's somebody I wanted to bring up this comment from earlier. Annette was saying, "Hi, beautiful peeps. How can we get involved in your school? I live in Australia and see how hard it is to get a 5-year-old to go to school. Please help." Okay, so there's a couple of things in here. Let's get into all of these new projects that you've been working on since we last spoke about I guess almost 3 months ago now. Where do you want to start? Which new project do you want to share with the audience here?
Well, let's start. So the last time we had a chat, I was still calling the Children's Center Divinely Guided. So we have completely rebranded. So we are now called the Aramis Aramis Creative Learning Center, and we are shifting the trajectory of the children's education. We are going at this full steam, and we are going to give the children what they need and what they're asking for. And so that's what this is about. So we are doing so many amazing things. We have just hired 6 teachers in the Australian time zone to start offering classes in their time zone, so that it's available to more children. Because right now the classes are all virtual because we don't have a physical location, which is what we'll talk about next. And we are adding classes every single day. And we have 6 or 7 new teachers in the American time zone. And we are offering a variety of classes for children to take right now. But we're really working towards creating these centers and have locations physically all over the world, because this is the future of education. This is what the children are asking for. It's a holistic and intuitive opportunity for children to learn in the environment that is conducive to their learning. So we have our philosophy here. We have what I call the Aramis stages of learning, which are developmental stages that take children from the ages of 4 to 22. I believe that this will take the place of universities at some point, and we will have trade school programs. I mean, this is going to set children up for a very successful, very well-rounded and balanced future where they're very empowered. And so the first learning center that we're going to open up will be in Florida. I haven't told anybody where it's going to be. So this will be our first time announcing this, but we will be opening up in West Palm Beach, Florida. And so we have found some land that we are looking at purchasing, and we opened up a nonprofit called the Aramis Collective, which is the other website that you're going to show. That one is a trinity of divisions. So we started a nonprofit so that we can receive donations and assistance from the community to help us build this amazing venture that I foresee will be all over the world. I see Aramis Creative Learning Centers in every state, if not multiple cities within the United States and in Canada and all over the world. And this will take the place of public education. These schools will eventually take the place of public education as an alternative method for these children to explore and learn in a very safe environment that is conducive to their learning. And there is absolutely no programming allowed. They're running the show. So the nonprofit we created is to generate some donations to help us build this. If you go to the bottom of the donation page, we have the phases that we are, so people know exactly what we're fundraising for. Phase 1 is to purchase the land. Phase 2 is we will go into the construction and build out of this first physical location. And once we build this location out, then we will start to expand into different states. So it's a huge project. These centers will not only have the education component, but we'll have therapy animal units with horses, all sorts of farm animals. So the animals and the children can interact and learn together, explore together, help with all sorts of behavioral issues, and I mean, you name it, we're gonna have it here. So they're going to be everywhere, and we're raising money to see if we can get started with the first location. We also have other divisions in the Aramis Collective. If you go to the home page.
Oh, yeah, but hold on. You're going too fast here. I want to encourage the audience also to help you. They were asking about how to support you. So let me bring that link down. So this was the same page we're on here. Help the Aramis Collective grow, the Please Donate page. So let me bring this donation page down in the live chat now, guys. And I will also pin this to the top of the comments right after the show. And please do support this, because again, we are all responsible here to build a new earth, and people who are on the front lines actually doing the work right now, whether that's in our healthcare systems or political systems and all that. Sherri's here, and she's been doing an amazing work also with very little budget for a long time on her YouTube channel. Also, you can go see the animation videos also there for the children, something really cool there for your kids to get started as well. But please do and support her in this initiative here. So again, that's the aramiscollective.com/donations. Now, Sherri, let's talk about these two other divisions on that main page. Let me come back up here. Where was I? No, it's this one. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, there's 3 websites there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other one, the collective one, I just want to go through the nonprofit so people see what it is that we're doing. So this is all about children. Okay, we are focusing our attention on shifting the lives of children and generations to come. So if you move down a little bit on that page, we have 3 divisions. So that just tells you what the nonprofit is, what we're focusing on. So the 3 divisions are the Aramis Creative Learning Center, which will be the physical locations all over the world that will allow children to go into physical, we're not using the word schools anymore, centers for the children to learn. And then Sky Universal Virtual Reality is a virtual platform that we're also raising money for, so children can have an incredible opportunity to learn and take field trips and take classes and workshops within a virtual reality component. So that is something that children all over the world can participate in because it's virtual and anybody can join in. So we're building an entire world within Metaverse for children to experience creative learning experiences, field trips, opportunities, concerts. I mean, you name it, we're creating it in this very safe safe for children virtual reality platform. So we are raising money for that as well. And then the Jordan Media and Publications division is all about we have 2 children's books out now, and we're about to finish the 3rd. We have 11 or 10 and almost 11 animated children's videos. So this division is where we focus on future documentaries, short animated films, books for children. Again, everything is for children. All of this is for them. I am doing this for the children. And then hopefully my daughter Aramis one day will take this over and I can go retire. And
have a margarita on the beach somewhere. You're working too hard, Sherri.
I'll lay on a hammock on the beach and Aramis will take this over one day because, when she came to me before I was pregnant and told me we have work to do together, gosh, did I know that this was what I was going to be doing, honestly. So but I'm jazzed to do it because this isn't just for my kids. I'm not doing this for my kids. I am doing this for the world's children and the future generation, because this is not a want. This is a necessity. This is something that we as parents and people who don't have children but have nieces, nephews, or you just know your neighborhood children, like this is important for everybody because this is the future of this world. So at some point we're all going to go somewhere else. And they're gonna take over, and they're gonna have children, and we need to set this up for them because they have been put to the side and programmed and deactivated and devalued enough, and it's time to put them first. And we are here to make sure that we do that, and it starts right now. And so I've put a lot of time and effort and my own money into creating the books and the animation series, and to getting and we just passed our 1-year anniversary for the Learning Center of virtual classes. And we've brought on so many amazing new teachers. We're adding a lot of new classes. This is really exciting, but I wanted to come on here today to let everybody know, like, this is what we're doing. And if you want to get involved, reach out to me. And if you want to donate, please do. This is, for those that are still within the system and you need tax write-offs and things, we created this nonprofit for that reason. So people feel comfortable donating to something really important. And so if people want to volunteer, we haven't quite, I know that was a question and I'm not ignoring you. We haven't quite got to that point yet. I have interviewed in the last couple of weeks over 20 teachers, and I'm not done yet. And so we're really focusing on getting the teachers so that they can we can offer more classes, but then we will start hosting Zooms to get volunteers. And we really need to put a lot of our effort to getting this physical location open, because once we get the first, it's like boom, boom, boom. We're opening them up everywhere as fast as possible, because this is needed. So for those of you that are not in Florida, we have the virtual platform for that reason, so that your children can benefit from it right now.
Right.
And we'll get there. We'll get to you. So for the woman who asked about Australia, all I can offer you at the moment is the virtual platform. But this shows you the need. I've had over 500 people respond to a survey that I put out that said they want this for their children. This is something that is needed. And the more people that get on board, the faster we're able to create these opportunities and these safe spaces for these children to really learn in a positive environment.
And it's so needed right now. I mean, I have 3 kids. They're in school here in Canada, in the jurisdiction I live. They've basically been in prison for 2 years, like all these lines on the ground and the masks and all the separators. And, to the point where sometimes they don't even want to take their masks off. They're shy. They don't have that social interactive skill anymore. And they're traumatized, and they don't even know. Like my friend's a school principal, and in his whole career, he's never seen so many kids with so much anxiety. And so we need this right now. We need people like you with initiatives like that, not just to repair the damage of the last 2 years, but to really catapult them forward. They are our future, and they are the people who are going to build this new earth. So a big thank you to you, Sherri, for all the work you do. I mean, dude, you do the work of 100 women. You're amazing as a divine feminine. Annette is asking you, do you work with autistic kids? Please.
Yeah, my clientele base, I have a lot of autistic children that I work with, a lot of them nonverbal. I work with children with Asperger's, ADHD. Now, I call them labeled because they're falsely labeled. A lot of this is energetic, and a lot of this is going to shift. And we need to stop using these labels, and not Annette. And I'm talking about the doctors diagnosing them incorrectly, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. This labeled society that we're in, that if they don't fit in this box that society has deemed, or the powers that were deemed that they should be or they have to be, then there's something wrong with them. And then they start labeling them and categorizing them. And it's shaming for the parents, because they think something is wrong with their child, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with them. They're just energetically different, and they think differently, they act different. And you know what? They came here for a reason. So because these children are breaking down these paradigms left and right. They're standing up and they're telling us what they want, and they are not they're powerful, and they're not going to put up with the school systems anymore. And they're challenging us for a reason, so that we understand that they have a powerful message. And so yes, we will be we do work with, and we will have the appropriate staffing to be able to work with children on varying developmental stages, autistic, social workers, all sorts of wonderful people are coming on board to help, to make sure we have the right resources, so that we cater to these children for what they need, so they don't feel shamed.
Wow, that's amazing. You're such an inspirational force in our universe. Oh my God. Let me see if I have any more questions here. I had started a few comments. Okay, let me bring this one up. I'll give you a little bit of love, of course, in the chat. Bill Holmes, Sherri's voice is so heart-centered. Yes, I agree. Jim says, what Sherri is doing for children is world-changing. Yeah, absolutely so. And Beth, she's badass. This chick called Sherri. Yes, this chick called Sherri. She's badass. A divine feminine warrior for sure. Sherri, we're almost at the 1 hour mark. Anything else we missed in our notes for the show tonight?
Oh my
Or
gosh.
any last words of wisdoms for the audience here tonight? Or any other ask? If you need help, let them know what you need. And hopefully universe will provide here.
Yeah, well, I really wanted to use this platform to just get the word out. So if those of you watching this, you have children, you care about children, you care about the future of this world, and you want to help, please, this is the time that we really need to work together. And a lot of people ask, what can I do to help the world right now? Well, you can help the world's children and help us co-create this. Whether, if you have money to donate, that's incredible. If you don't, and you have ideas, or you want to teach, or you want to volunteer, I mean, please reach out to us, because this is a huge mission that I have somehow on another level decided to come down and say, I'll take charge, I'll do it. And sometimes I wonder what I was thinking, but I am humbly saying I can't do it by myself. And I have been overwhelmed. And that's why part of the reason why I took a 4-month break and I stopped doing interviews, because I was like, I'm like my head was going to explode because the expectation was too much. And I said, I don't know if I can do this, you know, because I'm human just like everybody else. I have emotions. I cry. I wonder about my own abilities of if I can carry forward what I set forward to do.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I have my pity party and I'm done, I get up and I'm like, no, I'm putting my big girl pants. I'm doing this because I look at my 3 children and I say, I'm doing this for you, you know, and then I take my kids out and I see other children and I say, this is for them. So I don't allow myself to say, to sit on the couch and say, I'm not doing this. So I'm moving forward, but I am humbly asking for people's help in this. Any way you can help me, I'd be very appreciative of that. So yeah, that's it, I guess.
Well, that is a lot. You're doing so much, Sherri, and I hope that the audience members following this show can be inspired, whether that is to donate if they can, or to volunteer to your program, or to be the light that you are also in their respective field of work and community as well. It's all about doing each our part in here to create this new world. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe here at Sherri Divband on YouTube. Lots of amazing information, videos, interviews here, as well as her animated series. Before we go, talk about the animated series here. What's going on? What's next here for this particular project? And how can parents utilize these animations here for their kids? What's the driving force behind those?
Yeah, so the divinely, well, so they're called Divinely Guided Children because that was the original name that I was using for the spiritual center that I was creating for children that has now turned into something much bigger. But I had the idea about a year ago that I said, you know, all the things that I think children should be learning in school, I'd like to create a cartoon animated series so that children can be exposed to these topics that they have questions about. And so I worked with an artist and an animator. And a year later, we have 10 videos that are anywhere from, you know, 4 to 5 minutes to 7-8 minutes long. And they're short, but the idea is that each episode introduces a new topic. This one is the most recent. They're talking about Reiki and energy healing. They go into crystals. And so it's a really great way for children to be exposed and these spiritual, topics. And then they hopefully will start a conversation with their parents and ask more questions and want to know more. And the children's books that we've created, Divinely Guided Children, are based off of certain episodes that will continue to have many to come. So the videos are on my website. I'm sorry, the children's videos are on my YouTube channel, but at the bottom of my channel, there's a link to Divinely Guided Children Media. So it's children friendly and they're not going to accidentally see some of the other videos. Not that I have anything bad on my channel, but they don't want to see interviews with Jean-Claude and I. So at the bottom, I think it's at the bottom, there is a Divinely Guided Children Media, and it just has those videos. So then you can let them watch all of them in a row. And it's really fun. And and, you know, and our hope in our trajectory on this is to create documentaries and full-length feature films on really positive topics that children can watch and not be engrossed in these Disney films where something tragic always happens and their parents die and all the programming running in the background. Like, this is what they should be learning about. And so that was the kind of the idea behind all of these. And I just can't believe that a year later we have 10 of them and we're about to release the 11th. So this is really fun.
What's the topic on number 11?
Spirit animals.
Oh, nice.
It's about animals. And this is actually my favorite one.
How to connect to spirit animals. Wow. Yeah, that's very powerful as well. I wish I would have been taught that earlier in life. And also the Reiki and the crystals here. Can you imagine? Wow. That's amazing work. Thank you so much, Sherri. I love your work. So guys, again, that is Sherri Divband here on YouTube. This was another episode of the Quantum Healing with her friend Sherri Divband. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And guys, I wanted to show you this earlier, but yes, this was all the love in the convoy. There's this amazing trucker I spoke to. She had a big heart on her grill there of her truck, and she spoke about love and the love frequency. And you talked about the light pillars of love here in the convoy and all of these people being activated. It was so powerful to be there. Anyways, go check that video if you have time, guys. And in the meantime, please remember to like, share, and subscribe here at Jean-Claude BeyondMystic 3, my third attempt at keeping a channel here on YouTube. Of course, we talk about bad things, apparently. On Friday night, please join us again for the next Wacky Woo edition with Jason 4, and we are going to be having one and perhaps even two guests, so it's going to be extra wacky for you guys tomorrow night. I love you guys. Have a great evening. Thank you so much, Sherry, for being on, and let's not wait too long for you to come back on the show and give the audience members even more updates on your fabulous work. Thank you so much, and have a great evening, everyone. Au revoir.
Bye, everyone.